Hey everyone, good morning. All right, well we have about 30 minutes to the bell. Haven't taken any trades yet, but watching the market. Thank you guys for tuning in. So yes, I'm streaming on YouTube and Facebook this week, both the morning watch list and then the first 30 minutes or hour of trading. However, next week I will not be live streaming my trading on Facebook or YouTube. So those out there who are tuned in, if you would like to watch me trading next week, you will have to take the leap and become a member of the Warrior Trading website. Let me give you the link for the small account challenge. So in case you didn't already know, on Tuesday, I'm starting a new small account. And there's, I'll just pin this to the comments, the link, to the small account challenge. So the account is funded, set up, and ready to trade in. And for students today, Warrior Pro students, during summer school today, I'm going to go through for you my platform, my layout, the hotkeys, and everything else on how I'm going to be trading in this small account. So at the moment, MRIN has been kind of the big momentum stock this morning. Hit a high of 2168 before pulling back right down here to $20. I like MRIN. It made a huge move yesterday, and I didn't trade it. I missed the move entirely. I finished the day up 39,000, but I didn't trade MRIN. I am not sure whether or not I want to trade it today because I've found that it's been a little on the choppy side. So I'm interested, but we'll see if we get a clean 5-minute setup. I see TATT moving up a little bit, but it's a bit extended right now for me. Had a really nice breakout right there from 913 up to 10. Now, is it going to hold over 10? That's always sort of the question. If it's really strong, it'll give us more opportunities, but notice a couple of these big red candles back here. So that's giving me a little bit of pause. I'll keep an eye on it, but it is moving pretty quickly here. It's up 70%, which makes it our second leading gapper this morning. So we'll just wait for the next good setup. You know, the best setups would be a dip trade for a starter. So if I could take a starter on a dip and then add into a breakout, that would be my best positioning. So I haven't been able to get that yet. But that's also true on MRIN. And down here on MRIN could potentially be a double bottom off of 20. But this one's a bit of a meme stock, so I have to be a little careful on it. 10 million shares of volume. The 5-minute chart, this current 5-minute candle still has 3 minutes left on it, 2 minutes, 3 minutes left on it. And it's at the double bottom, which is a little bearish. Nice, Sam, good work. He's already got $7,800 of profit this morning, $7,400 on MRIN, and $300 on TATT, or whatever, I'm going to call it TATT. Very good. That's awesome. Let me check, Kevin. Oh, I see it. Yeah, good call, Kevin. I see that. So Kevin's got a trend line that he drew on MRIN. Let's see, where did you connect that? Back there, kind of like that. Yeah, something like that. So this is a little bit of a tricky bull flag because you had a bottoming tail, but now it's back down to the low. So it's pulling back a little bit too much right now. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you guys on Facebook and YouTube for tuning in. So before I start trading, I want to remind folks that in case you didn't already know, day trading is risky. My results are not typical. My experience trading has not been typical. And you have a high likelihood of losing money. So since you have a high likelihood of losing money, do not blindly follow me. You shouldn't blindly follow anyone. Practice trading in a simulator. Prove that you can understand how to trade profitably, how to manage risk. And if you can do that in a simulator, then you can think about flipping the switch to real money. Abe, what do you got there? $9,500, man. Good for you. You're really on fire this morning. That's great. CJ, where are you at? 166 bucks. Good. Small account looks like. Very good. Great start. That's fantastic. So for our students, we do have a simulator that we make available, but you can use any simulator. You could trade in TD Ameritrade if you want. You could trade with, I don't know. There's a bunch of different simulators out there. So do it whatever you prefer, whatever you'd like. But for Warrior Starter, Warrior Pro students, we have a simulator that we've made available for you guys. So I'll log into it right now just so you can see what it looks like. All right. So the nice thing about our simulator is that it's the same software that you can use with real money. So it's not like it's just simulated trading software. This is the same exact software that people use with real money. So there's MRIN, and there's the current quote on it, right? So just like that, you could take a position in the simulator, and if it goes up, you press the sell button. If it goes down, you press the sell button, whatever. So you can start practicing. You can put out your hotkeys and everything else. So it's a 4,000 share sim trade. I'll just put that out there for now. So there's 33. So that's $40 in the simulator. So you test it out, you practice. Can you prove profitability? And if you can, then you think about flipping the switch with real money. So in fact, this broke the double bottom right here, but only by a few cents. Only by a few cents, and then right back up. So that's certainly good to see. I would say on MRIN, we're starting to get dialed in. First 5-minute candle to make a new high is 51. I'm going to take a starter here on MRIN for a move back to 21 because this is a 5-minute setup. So now over 75 I'm adding. Over 85 I'll add, and then I'll add again over 95 for the break over 21. So I add as MRIN squeezes higher, adding right here at 90, and now looking for the break over $21, and I'd like to see a retest of the pre-market high. So there's 95. High of this candle, we're going to get a little dip here. This is going to present a micro pullback opportunity to buy for the break over 21. Added right there at 97. Can we get the break of 21? There we go. There's 21, and I'm taking profit off the table. That was a 25,000 share position. 25,000 shares on MRIN is $500,000. So I bought $500,000 of MRIN. Average is $20.66, and I made 10,000 bucks. High of this candle is 2104. There's 2110. Pre-market high is 2168. I think since it didn't break through 21 as strongly as I hoped, I'm going to wait for a 1-minute setup, and we'll see if we get a ABCD pattern. The best entry would have been Kevin down there at 90, just like you called it, off that yellow line, and I hesitated. I got in a little higher. So that was one trade. High was 21.10. And now I'm going to let it pull back for trade 2. Staff, someone's mentioning it, but I'm not super familiar with that one. 36 million share float. I'll leave it alone for now. MRIN in the small account next week. I wouldn't be able to take a very big position, so I don't think it would be the best one to trade. I think it's too expensive for a $2,500 account, which is what I'm going to have next week. I mean, I'll have both accounts, but the one I'll be doing the small account challenge in is $2,500. BLIN, big red candles on the daily chart. That one's hard to trust as well. Well, staff may have been a bigger winner at one point, but you have this big red candle here. The floats moved up. That could be from secondary offerings. So it just gets to a point where I'm going to be a little skeptical on it. But we'll see. You know, it has a history, and that was back here in 2018 of making a huge move. You can see right there, that was massive. That's a day where it went up 300%. So the fact that it can go up 300% is something that we certainly admire in a stock. It's a 6-to-1 reverse split here today. And is there any actual news, or is it just the reverse split? Let me check. It's also easy to borrow for what that's worth. You know, I saw Wave go up pre-market, and I saw CPOP also go up. Both of them were on relatively light volume. So CPOP hit a high of 90, Wave hit a high of 40, but on light volume, and they've pulled back. So, you know, the fact that they moved up that much, it's like, okay, this is a stock that has the potential to move on the one hand. But on the other hand, I'm having a hard time trusting it. I've taken my account from 8,400 to 12,000 this week. That's a 50% increase. Good for you. But don't get overconfident. While the market maybe certainly feels hot to me right now, it's still important to be able to manage risk, because it will slow down. And when it slows down, you don't want to give that all back. So we're beginning to form an ABCD pattern on MRIN. The high there of 21.10, and now pulling back here. I'm doing a dip trade at 58. That's a dip off this yellow ascending support line right there, bottoming tail. Only 2,000 shares on the dip though, because you know it's got to prove itself, and it's a little early on the 5-minute setup. But we'll see if it gets back above 75 and 80. Whoops, what did I just do? So the bottoming tail, let me move this over just a little bit more. There we go. So I'm holding 620 shares. So it took a little profit in the 70s, 75, 68. It's just a little early on the 1-minute chart and the 5-minute for a really good setup, but a small little dip trade I think was fine. So MRIN right now is our fifth leading gapper. Wave is the leader, but as I said, I'm not sure I really feel confident in it because of that funny move pre-market. I think I'm just going to hold off on that for now. TATT is our second leading gapper. So let's dial this one in a little bit more. Got to look at the daily chart. So it's at $10 right now. So it's going to be above these big red candles, but I think traders are going to notice those big red candles and think, oh, this is a stock that has a history of dropping. I sold the rest of MRIN for now. I'll wait for a better setup. Maybe another dip trade. Yeah, so I might kind of think about 1250. Sort of a little level right there. 1250, 1165, 1050. Nothing really big though. And these are from quite a while ago, so above 12, you start to open up to a bit more room, but we'll see. So that's TATT, 5.3 million shares of volume. BLIN, moving up a bit more, up to 650. Yesterday's high was 678. Then the high from the other day was 884. So looking at our chart here, stretching it out, we can see that we're coming, we have a clear shot right now up to 80, which is good. But then you're going to have a little bit of resistance there. Then you've got room up to 750. Then you've got room up to about 780. And then you're looking potentially at a new high type of target. But that's a bit of a ways off. So 680, there might be some people that short against 680 because it's yesterday's high. Technically it's 78, but yeah. So what do you guys like right now? I'm all out of MRIN. I'm kind of looking for the next trade. I'm not sure which one is the obvious one. MRIN does seem like it's a 5-minute setup for an ABCD pattern. It's a little extended. MRIN, BLIN, and TATT. Okay. Yeah, well, those definitely seem like the three most interesting. I do think there might be another opportunity on MRIN, but MRIN dipping there, 18,000 share buyer at 26. So for Warrior Pro students, we're going to have a class today at probably, I don't know, probably 11, 10:30 or 11. We'll jump into class and I'll get my platform loaded up and I'll start showing you what the game plan is going to be for next week with a small account challenge. Nice there on TATT's, on MRIN. So that did bounce right off that level and is now coming back up. You would need to see a break through 2110. The class will be recorded, yes. So tapped a high there of 2105 and then pulled back. Yep, we have a chapter where we talk about taxes and wash sales and things like that. Wave. Yep. So your pivot there is 2450. It's good to see volume increasing. If 2450 can break, then I'd be more interested. That's a more important level there. Because if it breaks through that, then you are looking at 26, 27, etc. It's definitely a big gap. And the float, 8 million shares. BLIN, let me take a look. About 15 minutes to the bell. BLIN pulling back a little bit. But there's no news on it. So that's a little bit of an issue, perhaps. But it's a NASDAQ stock. CPOP is gapping up slightly, but it's kind of a weird pattern. I don't really trust it. As a reminder for those tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, in case you didn't already know, day trading is risky. Most beginner traders lose money, and you should not try to blindly follow me or anyone else. My results are not typical. In my experience, trading has not been typical. I encourage you guys to get into a simulator and practice. Those of you who want to join me next week, you'll be able to watch over my shoulder as I'm doing a new small account challenge. You can practice in the simulator if you'd like. So MRIN is showing clearly that we're consolidating here. If we could break 2110, then we're in better shape for a move higher, but this is one that can be a little bit choppy. So I don't want to overstay my welcome on it too much, but you can see how we're holding that yellow ascending support line. TATT is pulling back a bit. We'll mark out the pre-market high, which is 1039. Maybe I'll put an order at 1040 so it's ready to go, but right now it's pulling back a bit. BLIN, that one, maybe over 660. Put an order around 665, 675, 685. So someone was asking me yesterday about how I scale in. And usually I try to start with a decent size starter. And usually a starter for me is, I would say in most cases, it's never more than 50% of my full size. And sometimes it's as little as 1/5 or 1/10. So if I add, 10,000 shares, but I'm planning on going up to 30,000 max size, then I'm only in, just a third or whatever it is, 40,000, a fourth. So I very typically will have something like MRIN, just for instance, and on a dip or something like that, maybe I would take a starter off of 2050. Maybe I would take 5,000 shares to start. And then if it squeezes up to 65, I'd add another 5. Over 75, another 5. Over 85, another 5. Over 95, another 5. Now I'm up to 20,000 shares or something like that, looking for the breakthrough 21. Take a little profit off on the breakthrough 21, 25. Let it pull back on the next dip, add back the shares I sold, then looking for the next move higher. So it's very fluid of getting out and then getting back in, getting out, getting back in. Sometimes I will just buy and hold the position for a little bit. And when I do that, usually I'll say, okay, I'm going to hold it here and then I'm going to switch over to my other account and actively trade it. Because there's opportunities to actively trade while I'm holding something for maybe a bigger move, because there might be 1-minute setups or something like that. So you can see how this is kind of flashing up here. Unfortunately, I didn't take the dip on it, and now it's popping up a little too quickly for me. So I'd be chasing it if I got in up here. Your high is 2168. So I should have taken that trade, and I just didn't. So now you're probably going to have resistance around the double top at 2168. So you might see people short against that level. So we'll let it pull back. The low down there was 17. So you're getting this red candle forming. So I would be watching the high a day, which is 73 right now. So this is always a little tricky. You have a big green candle followed by a fairly large red candle. Eight minutes to the bell. So you notice how this one has these spikes of high volume here and there, but clearly a double top, and that breakout was on a little less volume, but we'll see where it holds up. The high of this current candle is 45. So are we going to see any big bids on this? So I'm watching the level 2. If I see a big bidder or something like that, that could give me the confidence for a trade over 45. I don't see a big bid yet, though. First 1-minute candle to make a new high would be 45. So I'll take a starter there at 31 for the break of 45, first 1 minute candle to make a new high, and then I look for a retest of 65. So looking for the break through 55 and then up to 60. There's 48 on the ask. I'm a buyer on the break of 50. Added at 50 right there. Took half off the table at 58, holding 2,000 shares now. Look at the level 2 jumping around. Dip trade bought at 36, trying to buy that dip. So when you have that kind of price action, it does make you wonder a little bit what's going on there. So all told, that was maybe $1,000, $1,300 winner. Sold the rest of it. So that only, that was only from my entry at like 35 or 40 for the break 45. It went to 75, but it just tapped it so fast it didn't hold that level. I would watch $21 for possible dip trades, but that second trade was not as good as the first one. We've got 5 minutes to the bell. So this seems to be its current support level right around here, 21.17. So I'm watching to see if I can get any dip trades in this area. So we now have a double top, and that forms a bit of a cup, so we need to wait for the handle to form for the next entry on MRIN, or a dip down to the yellow ascending support trend line. Yep, so people that spam on YouTube get blocked on the channel. So if you're spamming a ticker, I'm not even going to look at it. I'm just going to block you. All right, 4 minutes to the bell. Sorry about that. Okay, I was on mute. Two and a half minutes to the bell. Wave, yeah. So I still would say 2450 is the the interesting spot on this one. But you just have to be careful because the last time it came up to 24.50, it rejected hard back down to 20, right? So it was a big pullback. If you'd gotten in there at 23, that would have been a decent entry, I think, for the break over 24. But right now we have, I guess, 4 stocks that are kind of interesting. We have Wave, we have MRIN, we have TATT, 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 whatever you want to call it. 5 red candles in a row. Very choppy. You have CPOP, yeah, coming up a little bit. And you have BLIN. So which one's the obvious one today for trades at the open? Well, Wave is the leading gapper. MRIN has the most volume. So maybe MRIN and Wave, but both of them are higher priced. So they're going to price out a lot of small account traders, and I would be included if I was trading my small account today. TATT is easy to borrow and has had these 5 red candles in a row and has a history of red candles on the daily chart, gapping and fading. So I think that one's probably off the list. So I think the 2 that we're going to be looking at here at the open, it's got to be Wave, which is our leading gapper, and TATT maybe third, and then MRIN. So MRIN, the high was 21.68. So I'm going to put my order at $22 on MRIN. And I'm going to watch MRIN and Wave at the open. Now the challenge is, how do you watch 2 stocks at the open? So Wave is squeezing up, but remember how it rejected the last time it was up here? I'm waiting. And I'm waiting on MRIN. They both feel a little too risky right now. Unfortunately, when we come into the open and I have that indecision of not knowing which one's the right one, sometimes that means I should just sit back and wait. Look at that Wave back down to 22.50. That thing just hit 25.50 and it's back at 22.50. Now MRIN is still going strong. So MRIN, I think, is the one to keep watching, but look at how extended it is. It's just gone from 21 to 24. So MRIN was the one, but now I've missed the majority of the move. You're going to have people shorting off of 24. So I'm going to have to wait on MRIN for a pullback, establish a lower risk entry. Bought 3,000 shares, but only 3,000. Next halt is 25. I sold the 3,000 for like $300 profit. The problem is it's just so extended, it's hard to take a big position up here. Halt level, 100,000 share seller at 25. So we're starting to get a pullback here. How much does it drop? Does it flush? Do we get a panic sell-off, or is this dip going to get bought up? I'm adding at 53. It feels like the dip's getting bought up. So I'm buying at 24.53, and I'm looking for the retest. Nope. Look at that. Lost $6,000. So, you know, this is the problem. I got in too high. I could look for dips, but I got to be careful. TATT. I'll take maybe a starter over 25, 10.25, but we'll see. Look at that rejection on TATT. Low on MRIN 22.50. Bought the dip at 23 on MRIN. Looking for the squeeze back up to 23.50. My thought is that we get a nice pop back up towards 23.50, 24. Doesn't seem like it's happening. I'm selling it. Should have bounced faster and harder. High this candle's 23.46. So I got chopped out. I got stopped out a little prematurely on that one. Okay, so now over 24 would be the next trade. Added at 24. Now looking for the squeeze 24.50 as it's curling higher. Once it starts to bounce up like this, 24.25, 24.50, and then we'll look for the move up to $25. Added there at 77. So buying the dip, looking for the breakthrough $24. There's 88, there's 90, there's 24.15, 24.25, 24.50. Taking a little off the table. Have to look for the next dip to establish a lower risk entry. So I kind of screwed up my trades at the open here, but 24.50 is the next spot to watch on MRIN. Adding right there, 24.15, we're basing. Now I'm gonna look for the break of $25. So watch this here, break of 24.50, added. I'm going for 25 on this. Adding at 78, right there. And adding at 95. Looking for the squeeze through 25 on MRIN. This is a flat top setup and it's a pretty bullish setup. So watch right here, there's 25, there's 25.50. That'll put me up 20,000 bucks on the day. High of that candle, 25.60. 21,000 on the day. So that was another 20,000 share position on MRIN. But I don't like that pullback there, back down. We got the breakthrough 25, dip traded 82, bought the dip, irrational sell-off, pop back up to 24.06, taking profit. Now actively trading the range. But I really screwed up the trade at the open. I should have, if I had just focused on this one, I probably would have bought it for 21.68 and 22 and caught that first candle up to 24. But I was watching Wave, which was the leading gapper, which made sense to watch it. And I was watching TATT, but MRIN was the cleanest one. So once that proved to be the cleanest one, that's the one I focused on from that point forward. Yeah, the opening bell snuck up on me a little bit today. Dip trade at 73, just 2,000 share dip trades. Sold at 36, a small loss. So, you know, this unfortunately looks like it's going to come back down to the volume weighted average price. Low there was 22.50. Dip trade at 667. Bought the dip again. Looking for the pop back up through 23. That's a double bottom setup on this one. So that one's a little bit nicer. Sold at 97, 98. Watching them maybe added back there. Selling at 11. So the double bottom on this was versus this candle here at 22.51. So that's why I added at 60. Well, who do you have here? Wave coming back up. Quick long at 25, 2,000 shares, looking for the squeeze at 25.50, and then into the halt, holding 750 shares into the halt. So I take profit off the table going into the halt to reduce risk because I was in at 25 and added at 25.50. I'm up on it, $1,400, but it's the right thing to do. Now I can reevaluate on resumption. If it resumes high, I can do a dip and a rip. It looks like a 26.50 resumption, new order at 27. Spreads are tricky on this one. So wave, holding, added on MRIN again at 73, another dip off the double bottom. Looking for a test back over $23. That's not too bad. Took the profit off the table, 23, right around 23. So that double bottom. Now the thing is, it's triple bottom now, and the more times it taps, we start to get into a risk of it breaking. But there's a nice reversal off that low. So a terrific entry there that I sold too soon. There is not a super obvious stock today. I mean, MRIN is pretty obvious, I guess, but it's 32 million shares of volume, but it's higher priced. So MRIN is risky. Wave is risky. IPO'd yesterday. But over 24.50, we've got room on it. I mean, the pre-market high is 40, so that's what we know there's potential there. MRIN dipping back down. BLIN is one that I'm having a little bit of a hard time trusting, but I do see that there is news here on it, so that's good. Yesterday's high we know was 678. This is a 5-minute pattern right here through 69, and so see how that pattern gets some follow through. It's common that people buy that type of breakout, so it's now hitting the high day Momo scanners as it broke new highs. Wave is showing a 26.25 resumption. My average is 25.19. My new order's at 27 to add. MRIN is back down at the bottom around the 22.50s, 22.70s. Watching resumption in about a minute on Wave, still showing 26.25. BLIN, I'm kind of just waiting on that one. MRIN, I think I'd rather just trade it at high a day than trade it in these areas. Just wait for it to get back up to the high. So you guys, Warrior Pro students, don't take off just yet because we've got something special we're doing. I have a raffle that I'm going to be doing next week for Warrior Pro students. Be giving away a laptop, just like this one right here. And I might even throw in a llama sticker if you're lucky. So stay tuned until I finish trading and I'll explain how the raffle's going to work. Okay, watching, sorry, about a minute now to resumption on Wave. It's showing a 26.50 resumption. So remember, this just went from 22 up to 25.75. It has the potential to be very volatile. That was a good red to green move, but we want to be careful about not getting caught in one of these red candles where it drops 2 points. So I have to mitigate risk with slightly smaller share size, but I'm going to try to continue to trade it. As long as it's showing strength, I'm interested in continuing to trade it. But if it starts to top out, I've got to be quick to unwind position. So orders right now at 27, and what I'm watching on resumption is a dip and a rip, and we know we had a pre-market high of 40, so if it really gets going, this could become the obvious stock, but we'll find out. Watching, dip, adding right there, break of 27. Okay, now holding 1,000 shares, taking a little more off the table, waiting for the next dip, added, taking it off the table. I'm only up 4,000 bucks. I gotta take it off the table into strength, let it pull back, and now let's see if we get a proper dip. So how much might this thing dip down? And what's our high? Our high is 29. If it breaks 29, we're looking for 30. Watching the dip, letting it pull back, adding it at 26 right there, bought at 26, 90, and now looking to add over 28. As it starts to curl back up, adding right here, now looking for the breakthrough 29. Watch this here, first 1 minute candle to make a new high, break at 29, target $30, adding at 28.50. So I'm sizing into this breakout. We're looking for the squeeze through 29, taking it off the table, 29.50. That's a $17,000 winner. I'm gonna let it pull back, holding small size. That was a dip trade. High of this candle, 29.37. New order, 29.37, looking for dips. It should have broken through 30. Watching. Watching. Added back at 28.21. Bought the dip, now looking for the retest of 29.50. There's 29 on the ask. Can we get 29.25, 29.50? There's 78, 28.78. Holding 2,000 shares. Sold. Sizing down, I'm gonna look for a dip. Still up 17,000, so I made some, gave it back. I'm in at 28.27. Adding at 27.50, buying the dip down there for the curl back through 28. Average is now 27.73. 4 million shares of volume, holding 600 shares. New order still ready at 29. We're waiting for our first 1 minute candle to make a new high. Added at 29, now looking for 30. 29.50 is the next add. Added at 29.25, looking for 29.50, then 29.75. Let's see if we get the squeeze up to 30. So hot momentum, taking profit into the squeeze. I'm gonna let it dip down, new orders at 30. High is 30. I'm gonna try to buy the next dip. Added at 28.41. 28.29, dip trade. Nice dip. Now it's at 29.36 on the ask. Took some profit on the ask, new orders at 30. Now that was the first 1 minute candle to make a new high right there. That first 1 minute candle to make a new high should have given us a bigger breakout than that. So the caution flag is out. I'm watching for dips to buy off support and then take profit into breakouts. Holding at 28.29 right now. Starting to dip down a little bit. Letting it pull back. $4.8 million shares of volume, up 160%. Now, if we have a 5 minute bull flag up here, that could give us a better risk management for the next trade higher. The low of this pullback right now is 27.40, so I'll watch 27.40 for possible dips. Those are higher risk. MRIN is curling up a little bit, I see that. Watching for dips. I want to see that kind of that panic dip so I can press the buy button. It's not dipping enough. It's just holding strong here. First 1 minute candle to make a new high would be 28.45. There's 28 on the ask. Okay, watching for a dip in this area. $28.45 could be a false breakout spot. I think this is a good spot to be unwinding positions a little bit and then look for a dip for a lower risk entry. Watching the dip here. Does it break 27? The 9 moving average is 26.72. That could be a nice bounce spot. Watching. Bought at 27.11. Bought the dip. So as it dips down there, I'm trying to buy the bottom of that candle wick. Over 27.50 is the next add. This is the 9 moving average. Added at 27.30 for the break of 50. Looking for that curl through 750, 775. Got 28 on the ask. There's 30. Sold the rest for now. Let it pull back again for another dip trade, double bottom off 26.50. Orders at 26.60. Getting filled at 26.60 on the bid, but only 687 shares. Sold half at 26.89. We'll see if I can get the rest over 27. Watching. Bought the dip at 25.90. Dip trade. There's 26.50. So I try to buy these dips generally. I'm in, what was I in at? 25. I was in at 25.90, sold at 25.58. I'm going to watch on resumption. I'm going to buy right here at 25.29. It's at the VWAP. I think it's going to bounce. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and buy the bounce off VWAP. This is a good spot for a dip. I think we're probably going to open higher. And then on the resumption higher, I'm going to look for the squeeze through 27.50 and then the first 5 minute candle to make a new high, which is going to be right here. This is, in my opinion, support. So I'm going to put a new order at 26 to add. And MRIN, I'm a little iffy on. It's pulled back a little bit more than I like. ALEC, I'll have to wait for a pullback on that one. So wave is already showing a higher resumption of 25.45. So if it opens higher, then we look for that halt down, open higher, squeeze up. Nice, Benjamin. $13,000 of profit. Good for you. That's fantastic. So ALEC hit a high of 40 and is now pulled back to 38.80. So it's pulling back a bit. Showing 25.50 resumption. ALEC. Breakthrough 40 would be a flat top setup, but the risk is a little higher on this one. Quick dip trade there for the breakthrough 40, 6,000 shares. There's a seller at 40. Will we break that level? 20,000. Adding right there for the breakthrough 40, taking it off the table as we broke through that level. Chopped out. But up $400 on ALEC. A winner, but not a big winner. Wave, showing 25.50 for resumption. So I'm looking for my add through 26 and then 26.87, first 5-minute candle to make a new high. MRIN is moving a little bit higher, but I'm not thinking I want to go for that until it gets closer to like maybe $24, $25, and it looked $24.50. Like it looks like it's really going to break through the highs. Just pulled back too much. Wave is showing a 25.77 resumption. Orders at 26 to add. Stocks like ALEC and Wave, these are all stocks, including MRIN, where I'm aggressive, I buy high, I sell higher. We have to acknowledge that these are risky trades, but when they work, they can work really well for me. So, you know, my strategy is based on taking a high level of risk. Showing 25.77 resumption. We've got a minute to resumption on Wave. ALEC back through 40. Look at that. Look at that. All the way up to 41. Look at that chop. Golly. Huh. All right, we're showing a $26 resumption on Wave. So it's a bounce off the VWAP. Put my money where my mouth is. Bought the drop into the halt because it was right off critical support. So if it resumes at 26, I'm going to be up 75 cents a share, and I'm going to look to add for the squeeze up to 27. Okay, so watching resumption on Wave for the trade through 26.50. Orders at 26.50. Looking to buy the dip and then the rip. Okay, orders ready to add. Adding right there for the break of 26.50. Did not fill on my add. Holding 463 shares. None of my ads filled. Added at 26.14. In any case, that was a winner, right? As a at the resumption. Looking for a dip off of the double bottom, 25.29. Sold the rest at 25.93 and looking for a double bottom entry. ALEC is still going strong. Watching for another entry. So the problem here on this, added at 24, bought the dip on Wave. This is an irrational sell-off. Try to catch the pop back up to 24.50. Unfortunately, though, so there's 24.33. There's 24.50. Nice. So that's okay, but I'm not gonna trade it anymore. I'm gonna focus on something that's above VWAP and is showing strength. So ALEC has a high of 43.32. MRIN is below VWAP. And we're coming up to 10 a.m. I'm going to take my money off the table, $48,000. I'm going to finish today at high a day. ALEC, it's up 86%, 9 million shares of volume. Wave, it's up 112%, 5.8 million shares of volume. MRIN, up 45% on 44 million shares of volume. The three stocks I traded, $48,000 green on 3 out of 3. So yesterday was 39,000. Today's 48. So that puts me up, 80 something thousand on the month. It's July 2nd. So now I've got a bit of a cushion in my big account. So what I can do now going into next week, at least on the first day, I'll just be focused on, that first trade in my small account and trying to build a little bit of a cushion. All right, so thanks on YouTube and Facebook for you guys who have been tuning in. My results are not typical. My experience trading has not been typical, and on some of my trades today, I put $500,000 on the line. So be mindful that I'm taking a lot of risk, and that's gone the wrong way on me too. My worst day this year, I lost $240,000. But on my best day, I made $480,000, just under 500. So I've had some big swings, but I'm up over $2 million on the year. We're at the halfway point, and I have a goal of $5 million for this year. So I got to keep trading aggressively and keep catching some of these big momentum stocks. And we got some good ones this week. We got some great ones this week. It's been fantastic. So those on YouTube and Facebook, thank you guys for tuning in for the watch list and live trading this morning. I encourage you to come over to warriortrading.com and check out the classes. We've got the Warrior Starter, the Warrior Pro class. We've got the Small Account Challenge starting on Tuesday. And as I said, during the Small Account Challenge, I will trade probably one trade a day in the small account, and the rest of the day I'll trade in my big account. So I'm basically going to lose one trade, each day from my big account by putting it in the small account, but it's okay. I'll do that. And what I often do, even in this account, is I'll switch between my main account and my retirement account, and I can do that with the press of a button. I don't have any positions in my retirement account, so I can just jump back and forth really quickly. But anyone who's read, study, keep practicing. You may not be ready to be trading with real money. Trade in the sim. Keep working at it. All right? So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll put up my disclaimer. And Warrior Pro students, stick around because we've got some exciting things to go over.